The city never looked more beautiful than on the first snow of December. Fat, lazy snowflakes drifted down from the gray sky, settling on the shoulders of hurried commuters and turning the busy streets into something almost magical. But Marcus Chen barely noticed. He walked with his head down, his expensive coat pulled tight against the cold, thinking about the empty penthouse apartment waiting for him at the end of another long day. Marcus was 38 years old and had everything he thought he wanted. He was the CEO of a successful tech company. He drove a car that cost more than most people's houses. He wore watches that could feed a family for a year. But somewhere along the way, in the rush to build his empire, he had forgotten to build a life. His parents had passed away years ago. He had no siblings, no wife, no children, just meetings and contracts and an assistant who reminded him to eat lunch. The loneliness had become like a weight he carried everywhere, invisible but crushing. He was walking to his car, parked 3 blocks from his office, when he saw her. She sat in a wheelchair at the bus stop, a tiny figure in a red dress that looked too thin for the weather. She couldn't have been more than 5 years old. Her blonde hair was pulled into 2 messy pigtails, and she was crying, not the loud, demanding cry of a child throwing a tantrum, but the quiet, heartbroken sob of someone who had been crying for a very long time. Marcus slowed his steps. He looked around, searching for the parent or guardian who must be nearby. But the bus stop was empty except for the little girl. The bus had just pulled away, disappearing into the snowy evening. No one ran after it. No one called out. The girl looked up then, and their eyes met. Hers were red and swollen, filled with a sadness that no child should ever have to carry. She clutched something in her small hands, a folded piece of paper. Marcus felt something shift inside his chest. He couldn't just walk away. He approached slowly, kneeling down so he wouldn't tower over her. "Hey there," he said softly. "Are you okay? Where's your mom?" The little girl's lower lip trembled. She left, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of traffic. "She said she'd come back, but she didn't. She said to wait here." Marcus felt a surge of anger at whoever had abandoned this child, followed immediately by a wave of protective concern. "How long have you been waiting?" The girl looked at the darkening sky, confused. "I don't know. It was daytime when she left." "Hours. This child had been sitting here for hours." "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Emma." "I'm Marcus. Can I see that paper you're holding, Emma?" Emma hesitated, then held out the crumpled note with a shaking hand. Marcus unfolded it carefully. The handwriting was rushed, barely legible. "To whoever finds Emma, I can't do this anymore. I'm sick and I'm broke and I can't give her the life she deserves. Please take care of her. Please give her a chance. Her father left when he found out about her legs. I thought I could be strong enough for both of us. I'm not. I'm so sorry, baby girl. Mommy loves you. Sarah." Marcus read it twice, his hands tightening on the paper. He looked at Emma, really looked at her, at the old, worn wheelchair that squeaked when she shifted, at the shoes that were too small, at the bruises on her thin arms that might have been from bumping into things or might have been from something worse. "Emma," he said gently, "I'm going to help you, okay? But first, I need to call some people who can make sure you're safe. Can you be brave for just a little bit longer?" Emma nodded, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. Marcus pulled out his phone and called 911. Then he took off his coat and wrapped it around Emma's small frame. It swallowed her completely, making her look even tinier than she already was. While they waited, he sat on the cold bench beside her wheelchair. "Are you scared?" he asked. Emma nodded again. "What if nobody wants me?" The question hit Marcus like a physical blow. He remembered that feeling, that fear of being unwanted, unloved, alone. He had carried it since his parents died, had tried to bury it under success and money and long hours at work. But it never really went away. "Someone will want you, Emma," he said, surprised by the roughness in his own voice. "I promise you that." "How do you know?" Marcus looked at this brave little girl who had been abandoned in the snow, who had every reason to give up but was still fighting to hold herself together. "Because you're special. Anyone would be lucky to have you in their life. Even with my legs. Especially with your legs. They're part of what makes you who you are." Emma studied him with those wise, sad eyes. "Are you lonely, Mr. Marcus?" The question caught him off guard. Why do you ask that? You look sad. Like my mommy looked, before she left. Marcus swallowed hard. From the mouths of babes, as they said. Yeah, Emma, I am lonely. Me too. They sat in silence for a moment, two lonely souls finding unexpected comfort in each other's company. The social worker who arrived was kind but busy, already overwhelmed by too many cases and not enough time. She explained that Emma would go into the foster care system, that they would try to find her a good home. Marcus listened, nodding in all the right places, but his mind was already working. I'd like to apply to be her foster parent, he said suddenly. The words surprised him as much as they surprised the social worker. Mr. Chen, that's very generous, but the process is complicated. Background checks, home studies, training, it can take months. Then we start now, Marcus said firmly. Tonight, whatever paperwork you need, whatever I need to do, let's begin. And until it's approved, I'll cover any costs for her care. I'll hire the best doctors, the best therapists, whatever she needs. The social worker looked skeptical. This is a big commitment. Most people don't understand what they're taking on. Marcus looked at Emma, who was watching him with cautious hope beginning to bloom in her eyes. I understand, he said quietly. I understand exactly what I'm taking on. I'm taking on a little girl who deserves better than she's gotten. I'm taking on responsibility and late nights and worry. I'm taking on a chance to be part of something bigger than myself. And maybe, just maybe, I'm taking on a chance not to be lonely anymore. 3 months later, Marcus pushed Emma's new wheelchair, bright purple, her favorite color, through the snow-covered park near their home. She laughed as snowflakes landed on her nose, her cheeks pink with cold and happiness. Faster, Daddy, she called, and Marcus's heart swelled every time she said that word. He had sold the penthouse and bought a real home, one with ramps and wide doorways and a yard where Emma could play. His office knew not to schedule meetings past 5 o'clock. His car sat in the garage while he took Emma to her physical therapy appointments and dance classes designed for children with disabilities. His life looked nothing like it had before that snowy evening at the bus stop. It looked better. It felt better. He had found what he had been searching for in all the wrong places. He had found home.